Alrighty, greetings everybody. We are a little bit behind today because I last second decided to do something and I still need to set that up. So you're gonna watch me set that up. You're not gonna have the countdown clock because I can't have that up while I'm setting it up, but I'll talk you through the process. For those of you who are interested in live streaming and this kind of complex live streaming that I do, this might be interesting for you. So let me get my chat window open first and then I will take you through the process of what I'm going to do. Let's see here. Let's get this all in place. And there we go. There's my chat window up. All right, so good morning, greetings, everybody. Say hello in the chit chat room if you're watching in the chit chat room. And I need like a sign that says I'll be starting soon, but it's okay. You'll figure it out. So basically what I need to set up is I want to set up a split screen. So I'm using, you guys have seen this before, I use my ATEM, that's my hardware switcher, and this is my interface for this. And I'm going to be setting up something called a super source. Now if I click on it now, then what you're seeing will go away, but I'm going to enable super source. And then I have these two boxes here, box 1 and 2. Well, I can use up to 4, but box 1 and 2, that I'm going to set up to show a split screen. And I'm going to be showing a split screen between this view, which is the back of this LED light, and that is coming from a camera that, can you see the camera? No, you can't see the camera, it's just out of frame. So we're going to do a split view of that, plus a close-up of the front of the light. Now you can see this one is massively underexposed so that you can see the colors of the light. Kind of a fun little thing that I'm trying to set up here. So anyway, so we're going to do a split screen between that, and that is what the setup is. So I have to set it up. It's kind of weird the way this whole thing works. And for anybody who's just tuned in, I'm walking through a setup. I'm not quite ready to start the show yet because I decided last second to do something. So I'm just walking you through the setup of setting that up, and then we'll actually do the show. Sorry, can't have the countdown while I'm doing this. So just follow along for the ride and say hello in the chat room. Okay, so it's a super source. So first I'm going to enable super source, and once that's up, I have different presets that I can just pull up from. You can see just different ones that are already built into here. So it doesn't really matter where I start. I'll just grab one that has 2 cameras on it, and I'll set box 1. That's actually already set for the close-up. That's fine. Actually, I want to set box 1 to the studio camera. There we go. So there's that one. And then I'll set box 2 to be my close-up camera. There it is. Okay, so there's that. Let me get rid of the outline. I do not want the outline on there. Let's get rid of that border. Actually, I might, no, we'll leave the border off. And now I need to resize these. So first of all, they're half size and they're kind of positioned funny, so I'm just going to reset everything. So we'll set the positions to 0 and 0 and, hello, oh, probably helps if I type in 0, there we go. And the size to 1 or 100%. So that's that back one now. Let me just turn off the top box for now. And go back to box 2. Actually, this would be easier to set up box 1 first. So let me turn off box 2, turn on box 1, and let's set this one up. Hello, Jake. Good morning. Greetings and salutations to you. So Jake, if you just tuned in, what I'm doing right this very second is setting up a split screen that I want to do a side-by-side that I didn't have time to set up before the show because I just thought of this. So there we go. All right, so that's in place. Let's move this. That's not the Y position. Let's move the X position over. Put that about halfway. I need to be able to see the commands on that. So that should be, actually, we'll do it like that. Yeah, sure, that's good. Ooh, and then I just lost connection to my switcher. Excellent. Oh, there it's back. So there's that one. And then I go to camera 2. Let's turn that back on. There it is. It's in the background. And let's see, that means I need to crop the top one. So let's go to box 1 and start cropping that. So let's take the right-hand side and start cropping that over. And hello, Burns Tech. Playing with setting up a preset, I guess I should type this in, that I didn't think about doing until just before the show started. And I thought, you know, this would be a good thing to do. So that's what I'm doing. So setting up a split screen preset. So we're looking at the front and the back of the LED. Let's see here, now we can go to box 2, that's the background one, and position it. Let's see here, yeah, we can move that over. There we go. That works. So now, as I make changes here, you can see, awesome, that totally works. So now the real trick is I have to save all of this. Unfortunately, saving these as a macro is a pain in the butt. And I wish I could show you my screen. Actually, I can't. Hold on a second. Oh, this is so cool. All right, I'm going to send to the streaming hardware, to the Pearl, I'm going to send my Mac screen. Yes. There you go. Okay, now you're seeing my my screen. So I'm not looking at what you're looking at. I'm looking at my split screen. But this is how I have to save the split screen. So I've built it all up, and now I have to save this as a macro. So let me open my macros palette, and I need to create a new macro. We're going to call this, we're under create. Oh, it's running a macro right now. Stop. Okay, go to create plus, and we're going to call this LED split. Split. There we go, so I can find it later. And now it's recording. So now I have to turn everything basically on and off that I want it to record. No, Serge. So greetings, Serge. I can't switch over to me right now. You're looking at my computer screen. What I'm doing right now is setting up. Actually, I can. Let me do this. Let me set the Pearl to camera 1. I think that's right. Yes. Okay. So for those of you who just tuned in, here's what's happening. We're going to do a show momentarily about this light. Last minute, I decided that what I really should do is do a split screen setup between the back of this light and the front of the light so you can see it as I'm adjusting it, which is easy to set up. I just set that up, and now I have to save it as a macro. So using my ATEM hardware switcher, which for those of you who've seen the show before, have seen some of my live streaming setup stuff, you know that I use this big hardware box from Blackmagic, that all of these video feeds go into that. I'm controlling that from my computer, from the software on the computer that connects to it. I've just built a split screen, which, so for those of you who are watching, good grief, everything's beeping, which for those of you who are watching are, turn that off, just saw me do. But now I have to save that as a macro because I need to be able to switch between all the different sources throughout the show. I need to save what I've just built as a preset. One of the, I guess, drawbacks of the ATEM is there's no save this configuration button. So I essentially have to script saving it. And the best way that I've found to do this, and I'd love to know if there's an easier way, but the best way I've found to do it is to record a macro, and the macros are the scripts that do everything. And I literally have to move everything that I want it to record. So if, even though it's already set up, I turn something off and back on. I move it to the left and then back to the right so that it goes, so it records that final position, everything that I want set up. And if you forget something, you either have to record the whole thing again, or if you understand the XML language, you can go in and write or just copy and paste pieces out of other snippets. So that's what I'm working on right now. We will get to the show eventually, I promise, but this is what we're doing now. So let me go back to showing you the screen, the computer screen. Okay, so now this is, I am currently recording a macro. So it's in record mode right now. So what I'll do is I'll toggle things. So I'm going to toggle just to a black screen and back to SuperSource. So now that means that I've just recorded switching to SuperSource. I then will go over here to my box control, and I need to set up each box. So box 1, I need it on, so I'm going to turn it off and back on so it knows to turn it on. I'm going to switch the camera from one thing back to the one that I want it to be, so it knows that I've done that. Move the position, move the Y position, scale. So everything that I do, I just go back and forward again so that it records that position. Turn crop on. I don't want a top crop, so I'm going to make sure that's 0. Bottom crop, I want to make sure that is 0. Left crop, I want to make sure that is 0. And the right crop, I want to make sure that is 8. Okay, so there's that. Now I go to box 2 and I do the same thing. Make sure it's off, rather on. Make sure that is set to the close-up camera and toggle all of the parameters. This is a pain in the butt, and cropping is off on this, but that's how it works. I want to make sure my background does not have a border, so we'll turn the border off. Just toggle that to make sure it's off. And that should be everything that I need. So now I can stop recording this. So now I've just created a macro, which means I can select it. If I go to recall and run, I can select the macro just clicking on here, and the macro that I want is all the way down here, LED split. However, this is now on the last page of my buttons. So now the really exciting part is I save this. Let's just do a Command-Shift-S to save, close that out. And this is all my scripts that I've saved. I'm going to save this. I'm only going to save the macro language. Click on Save on that, and that is going to save out. You can see down at the bottom it gives a percentage count. And now while that's happening, I can switch the Pearl feed, what you guys are saying, back to my standard feed, which means I can now re-enable me. So it's quite the process. Yes, sirs, this is a total behind-the-scenes show today. Wow, we got a lot of people watching today. So listen, guys, I know there's a bunch of you tuned in. You expected the show to start on time, as it almost normally usually does, but I've decided last minute to make a change to the show, building a split screen, and that takes time, and so I'm just kind of walking you through the process. So if you've missed any of that and you're really interested in it, you can rewind this live show or just wait until the whole thing's over and go back to the beginning and catch that. Okay, so now this has finished saving that macro, that script. So now's the really fun part where I go in and open in Text Wrangler. That's the app that I use to do my code modification. Let's get rid of that. I open the script that I just did, and right there at the top, there it is. I open this, and now I have to find that script. What did I call it? LED split. I think that's what I called it. LED split. No, I split something. I don't remember what I called it. I call it split something, so let's just search for split. Split. There. Nope, not that one. Great. Didn't I call it LED split? What did I call it? Why am I not finding it? It was called LED split. That's fantastic. Why? Where'd it go? Why isn't it in here? Did I open the wrong? Maybe I opened the wrong one. Open today, 9:40 a.m. That's the one I just saved. Open that. Find. Split. Oh, that's just fantastic. Okay, it did not save that. That is really weird. All right, we're going to try that again. Save. Command-Shift-S. Save this. Save just the macros. That's all I want. Man, that is weird. I've never seen that happen before. I wonder? No. That is super bizarre. I literally have never seen that happen before where I saved my macro. I wonder if I have too many macros. I wonder if there's a limit to how many. No, there's a slot for it. Huh. Super crazy weird. Hello, Mick Lexington, who was always late, and this is a bonus for you. You're welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad this is a little bonus. Again, for anybody who's just tuned in, we will get started on the show eventually. I'm just setting up a new preset macro so I can do a split screen thing, and it's just taking time. Serge is asking, is the search case sensitive? You know what? Now that you say that, I might have had that checkbox clicked. Let's find out. Let's find out. Go back. Text Wrangler is open. Find split. No, case sensitive was disabled. Nope, the only ones are this other older one. Okay, did that finish? I think it just finished. Nope, still saving, 48%. I'll wait for that to finish saving, and then I'll open that up. That's so bizarre. Yes, the only thing I could think of is that I've run out of slots, but we see a slot on the screen here. I mean, it's there, and it's got space for more. Huh. Very curious. All right, well, we're going to find out in a minute. Still waiting for that to finish. Got to wait for that to hit 100%. How's everybody else doing today? How y'all doing? Cool, cool. Glad you're happy. I'm happy. Are you happy? I'm happy. Ooh, and I can't take forever. I got to call at 11 o'clock. Well, this isn't going to take that long. The show won't be that long once we get started. Just got to actually get started. Crazy, crazy thing that we do. Okay, come on, 82%. I swear this used to be faster. It probably was faster when I had a lot less macros. Now it takes a lot more time. What you going to do? 89, come on, come on. May as well get other stuff out. I'm not going to do an actual unboxing, so let's just get these things out of the box now that you are going to want to see. Look, it's a box. It's a box with an LED light and 100%. Okay, so now let's see here. So that has been done. So let's go back to here, back to Text Wrangler, open the one I just created, find split, 43, 43, there, nope, max split, horizontal split, Ninja split, a bunch of splits, main top split, okay, LED splits. Clearly there was something wrong with the last file. LED split, there it is. You know, I'll bet I opened it before it was done. Okay, here we go. So index is 95. That is the number, I've got a lot of these. That is the number on the, yeah, what do you call it? Number of orders. So if we go back to this, you'll see, oh good. I love it when that happens. It just suddenly spontaneously disconnects. There, it's back. If I open up the macros, you can see these aren't numbered here, but that first one is number 0 and then 1, 2, 3. It's really nice that they have to have 0 in there. So there's a lot of these. The reason that that matters is because I use, let's go to my overhead view, on this, my remote. Let me focus that for you. Did that focus? I think it's focused. There we go. On my remote, that's number 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So if I go page far enough down here, I should find it. Yeah, LED split, there it is there. But I don't want to have to page all the way down there to get to it. You know, it's not a big deal, actually. No, it is a big deal. So I want to move that up to page 1. let's see here, I'm going to replace this one, Filmic Remote Spot. So now, let's see here. Now that that's set up, let's go back to this screen. And now what I need to do is move the code. So that's at 95. If I open, I have a numbers document that I use to track my button position. And open recent ATEM button layout. There it is. I use to track my button position. It is woefully out of date. Anything past the first 2 pages is not right. This should be right, although this apparently is not either. That's got the wrong one in there. Oh well. Man, I seriously got to do some cleanup in here. But that is slot number 9 is where I want it to be. So what that means is first I need to find what's existing in slot number 9. So that's index equals, oops, I'm not supposed to have that there. Index equals slot 9. Currently it is Filmic Remote, which is what we saw earlier. So I don't want that there anymore. I don't think I need this anymore, so I'm just going to delete that one entirely. So find the end of that macro. There we go. Delete that. So make sure there's not a duplicate. Sometimes you end up with duplicates, and I don't know what that is. These are, I don't even know what those are. Part of other macros. Well, it's okay. I don't need that. And so now I need to find that LED one. Where did it go? LED split. There it is, and we're going to index, change that from 95 to 9. And now that's going to put it in that button position. So now I'll do a save as on this. And I have done a show on how I do these macros before. If you just search my channel for LED macros, ATEM macros, you'll find it. I have a whole process of how I rename the files when I save them, so I know it's one that I manually made. So I've now moved that button to position 9, resaved that XML file. And now when I go back into here and I load that new XML file that I just created, restore from that, now I have to wait for this to load, which will take a couple minutes. And once that is loaded, then, let's see, now I have to manually switch this. I can't run a macro while it's loading macros. Let's see here, where am I? Is that the main camera? There, that's the main camera. Now while that's loading, once that's loaded, the remote control app will update to show me that button there. And then we'll be ready to go. At least that's the theory. Shark is asking, is this a little early today? Shark, thank you for tuning in. No, you're not early, I'm late. I decided at the last minute to make a change to the to my macros, to my screen setups, to do a split screen for this light. And so I'm walking you all through that process because I figured, why not? Show you how it's done. A little behind the sausage making process or something. But we'll be there in a moment. Let's see here. Mick says, when I first tuned in, I thought that was the interface to use the light, and I thought, no way. Yeah, that's funny. That is not the interface to use the light. That is the interface to use my video switcher. It's madness, but it's immensely powerful. But my God, it's taken me so long to really, really learn this thing, and I still am convinced that I'm scratching the surface. What I want to do is take some kind of a class on this, but like nobody seems to know this stuff outside of Blackmagic itself, and they haven't done anything really in depth. And the manual is, you know, like manuals are, it tells you what they do, but not necessarily why you'd use it. I'm sure there's things in here that if I saw it and used it, I'd go, oh, I could totally implement that. But I have not seen that such a thing. So we're going to get there. See, it's still loading, 47%. Yeah, I really need to clean up these macros. This used to take seconds to load, and now it takes minutes. Serge says one needs to have an ATEM light to use this cheap light. Yes, you do. That is right. It is a $80 light that requires an $8,000 switcher interface to work with. No, I'm kidding. No, it's not $8,000. What is it? $4,000. Still a lot of money. All right, we're getting there. 60%, 61%. Man, that's slow. So let's see here. What else can I tell you guys while we're waiting for this? This whole switching thing is cool when it works. I mean, it always works. It just takes a long time to set up. So yeah. So on the split, you can't see the camera, but there's a camera over there. My studio camera, the one that's on wheels, that's pointing at the back of this light. There's a camera over here that's pointing at the front of this light. That camera is severely underexposed, so you can really see the color of the light, unlike what you see right here, which is obviously a bit blown out. So that's the idea. Come on, 82%. Man, I need to clean up these macros. I think what I should do is just go in and wipe out everything past the first 2 pages. Maybe save them into a separate file just in case I decide that I need one and I want to search for it. But what's happened so often is I'll come up with an idea like this, and I might have done this before or something very similar, but instead of finding an old one and modifying it or finding an old one that might actually work, I end up just building a whole new one, and I end up with way too many. Okay, that's at 100% now. So that's hit 100%. Restore complete, we see that. So now let's go to the overhead view. So now we still see the old one because it's in cache, but if I go to one page up and back again, boom, LED split. So now tap that and you see the LED split. Bravo, huzzah, it actually worked. Okay, so now we've got the channels that I need. So we've got the main, that's me. We've got just the close-up. We've got just the studio camera. Still got the overhead. And then there is the, oops, wrong split. There is the split. So we'll try and hit the right split in doing the show today. All right, so now let's get that set up, get that in place. I'm ready. You guys ready? I'm ready. Sir says, what did you decide on the new avatar? Haven't you seen it? I did the buzz. I had my, my designer, the illustrator who did the original one, he redesigned it for me with the shaved head. It's kind of cool. Love it. Jake says, looks like your audio interface is back. No, it's not, Jake. It is not back. It is still a big empty hole up here. It's supposed to be back this week. Last week they said it's been repaired. We've sent a shipping label to, I guess, the company that did the repair. I don't know. It seems like I sent it to one company. They sent it to another. I have no idea. They said that it's done and they've sent them a shipping label, but I have gotten no confirmation of a shipping label. It was supposed to be here by the end of this week, which is tomorrow. Need that audio interface. Really need it by next week because I'm doing a 2-up show with Mr. Sean Mark Nipper on Thursday. And I can't do that without my interface. Anyway, shall we have a show now? Shall we actually have a show now? What a brilliant idea. Let's actually have a show. My goodness. Okay, let me turn this off. Yep, turn that off. Okay, we get this off of here. See, this is what happens when I make last-second decisions on things I want to do. Let's see here. What is it? Technopilot, I showed us your ATEMs switcher. It showed us your ATEM switcher. Yeah. So that's my ATEM switcher interface. That's the ATEM interface here. So there's the audio, there's the camera controls, there's the media bins, all the different media things that I have in there. I don't know why that is still loading. That's very interesting. Wonderful. Well, hopefully that actually plays. And then there's the switcher itself. But I run everything through macros on an iPad app. So that's, I don't touch the interface on there during the show. The reason for that, God, we're going inside baseball here. The reason that I don't use the main interface for the show is because the main interface is set up as a preview and program, right? So you load something into preview and then you switch over to program. Actually, I should take that back. You can immediately send something to program. I can do that. I can switch everything immediately. But most of my switches are not just a camera switch. More is happening. So for example, when I switch to this camera you're on right now, it runs a macro that not only loads this camera, it starts a delay. I forget now, it's like a minute, minute and a half, or 2 minutes or something. And then over time, after a little while, you're going to see a little thing bounce up off the bottom here. And that's built in after a whatever multi-minute delay. So if I'm switching back and forth a whole bunch, you're not going to see it. But if I hold on this camera for a while, you'll see that pop up. That's part of a macro. When I switch to any of the other cameras, just straight on cameras, those are just straight switches. But when I do things like the split that I just spent all this time setting up, that is part of a macro. And if I was to do that manually, I would literally have to go in there every time and tweak everything manually, or it would save the last setting. But if I had multiple settings set up, so for example, okay, when I do a picture-in-picture off of the iPad, or picture, here, let's do this. There's the Mac, there's a Mac picture-in-picture. If I had the iPad on, and I go to there, you see just that, but then I do a picture-in-picture on that when I have my cameras hooked up to this interface, right? So you can see the menu. It's all these different things are built into macros. Wow, we have gone so far off topic here. But do I have a program on it that shows what I see? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I can't show it to you now, but right out of frame, just under framing here is a panel that has it has an 8-up showing me 8 different inputs, preview and monitor, and then on a separate screen, preview and program, sorry, and then a separate screen, just the program. So I know exactly what is being shown to you at all times. But still, I got to be doing the switching while I'm talking, so I can't go over here and say, okay, let's switch camera angles and hit 5 buttons. That's what the remote control does. Triggers a macro, does everything at once. How about we have a show that actually does what we're going to do today? Does that sound like a good idea? That sounds like a great idea. Wow. Okay, I'm going to sit. I wanted to do something with this for the opening. Get this set up. There we go. That's the one. Okay. Ha, God, that's bright. We're just going to do this. This will be a good opening. Oh, and set that. There we go. On today's show, we're going to be talking about the ANDYCINE LED RGB light. It's fun, it's light, it's fabulous, it's cheap, but is it any good? and you had no sound. At some point, my God, the sound I can blame on not having the switcher. You viewing the ATEM screen, I can only blame on me being an idiot. ATEM took my voice, yeah. Wow. We're just going to start everything all over again, aren't we? It's just one of those days. Wow, anybody who tunes into this live thing is going to be like, what just happened here? Are we good? Everybody good here? Do we actually have a show now? I'm going to wait until someone confirms we are totally good to go. Man, oh man. It's one of those. It's one of the good now, Emacs says. Excellent, finally. I cannot believe you guys actually stuck around this long. I am stoked. Oh no, now that my voice came on, a bunch of people dropped off. That makes perfect sense. They're like, oh God, we actually have to hear him too? Tuned out. What is this ATEM software crap? Mikey, the ATEM is my control interface for my switcher. The reason that you had, well, okay, two things just went wrong today. The reason you were watching my ATEM interface instead of watching me was because I redirected what was going to the actual hardware encoder to be a different feed than the live feed so that I could show you something while I was building it. I forgot to put it back, or maybe I put the wrong channel back, but anyway, so there's that. The reason you couldn't hear me is because my audio interface is still out for service, which means I have to manually enable sound, and I keep forgetting to do that. That's like the 15th time I've forgotten to do that. But here we are, we're back, we're ready to go. My God, it's just one of those days. So let's see here. Let me reset everything for the live show. That's good. That's good. Let's take off the battery here. We're going to need these again. Actually, since may as well reset my top down because that wasn't zoomed in far enough. So, oh, that is zoomed in all the way for that lens. Oh well. Make sure that's focused. All right. And now we're going to hear. Now we're going to. Sir says they were here for the ATEM, not for you. Exactly. People are like, oh, look at that beautiful ATEM interface. It's gorgeous. You know something else I forgot to do that I may as well do now that we've stopped and we're having to start over again is I neglected to pull up the Amazon purchase page for this, so I will just do that momentarily. If I can find that. You know, some days, it's just one of those days. It's just one of those days. Sarah says, I was testing the audience exactly here. This is what I'm looking at. I was just testing my audience. All right, let's see here. Let me get my recent orders up. And there it is. Super duper. All right, the ANDYCINE light. Perfect, that's in place. Make that a little bit bigger so you can see it. That'll work. Cool, okay. It was all scripted. Dude, everything's scripted. Serge, didn't you know I script this thing to the letter? That is why I make so many mistakes. All right. And I have to remember to switch the audio back after I do my intro. So let's do that. Let's try this all over again, shall we? Oh, that's right. For my intro, I wanted to have this on. And there we go. There we go. See, look, it's like rotating through the colors. God, it's bright. Wait, is it? Yeah, it is. It's just taking its sweet time to do it. Okay. Shall we have a show? You guys ready? I'm ready. Take 2. Wasn't it like take 17 or something? My God. Whose idea was it to do live? I mean, seriously. Who does live? Man. Okay. On today's show, we're going to be talking about this handy-dandy little ANDYCINE RGB LED light. It is a cheap RGB light, but we're going to find out if it's any good or not. Today we're talking about this neat little RGB LED light. Now RGB LEDs are the latest and greatest in lighting technology, but they can be pretty expensive. This is a really inexpensive version of an RGB light. In fact, let's just take a quick look over here at the cost of this thing. It comes in on Amazon at a whopping $76. So it's really relatively quite inexpensive. For full RGB light, that's cheap. So what we want to find out here is if it's actually any good. But let's start by going through what's in the box. You got your lightweight light here, and it is very, very light. I don't have a scale here, but it's really light. It's all plastic, which of course means it's not super, super robust, but it doesn't weigh a whole lot. So if you are going to mount this on top of your camera, that's not going to feel too heavy. It's not going to feel too bad. it comes with a battery. It does take a standard Sony NP battery, so it comes with one of these. It's a little one, but it comes with the battery. Curiously, this can be run off of DC as well, off AC or DC or whatever, off the wall, but it doesn't come with a power adapter, an AC power adapter, which I thought was kind of curious. Usually when you buy something like this, it comes with the wall power. You have to buy the battery separately. This one's the other way around, but whatever. So it comes with a little battery. You probably have more of these laying around, which is great. It comes with a battery charger, makes sense. And here's something cool. I have never seen this before. I'm actually really excited about this little guy. This charger is a USB charger. So this charging plate has a built-in short USB cable, so I can just plug this into a computer or an iPhone or iPad charger or whatever you got, and charge your battery away. Now it's probably going to charge pretty slowly that way, but you can do it. Curiously, it also has another power input, not an output, an input, and it comes with a slightly longer USB cable. I'm not really sure why. It's not like a really long cable, but you do get a slightly longer cable, so you can either plug this into your computer this far away or this far away. Anyway, that's what it comes with. I'm actually kind of excited to have this, just an extra little charger that runs off of USB. You never know when you might need that, when that might be handy, so there you go. And the last thing it comes with is this mount. The neat thing about this mount is that it has a post on here. You can just kind of, if I tilt that just right, you see the post on there, so that when I put this in, the post actually slides into a hole on the bottom of the light, so that once this is locked into place, it doesn't twist. So now when this is on your camera, wherever it might be, there's no twisting going to happen here, which is kind of cool. So a lot of things you mount it on there and the light still twists independently. That post keeps that from happening. So this is a cold shoe adapter. This does have a little hinge on it, so we can tilt that however you like. So at that point, you could mount this on top of your camera or onto a light stand or a tripod. It's got a tripod quarter 20 on the bottom, wherever you need to mount it. So nice, like that. Battery snaps into the back. And let's take a look at the controls on the back here. So you have two different buttons here, two different knobs and buttons, the dimmer / power and the color temperature / hue. So this light is a color temperature controllable light / an RGB light. Now we know that when you have a light like this, the color temperature control is being calculated by RGB, so it's probably not going to be super accurate, but as you're going to find out here, accuracy is not exactly this thing's strong point, but we'll get to that. So here's how it works. Turn it on, simply push that button to turn it on. I realize you can barely see that LCD. We're going to get a split screen view in a moment here, but as I adjust the dimmer here, it gets brighter or darker. You can see a readout on here is at 63%, and it says 3750 degrees Kelvin. This knob here will now adjust the color temperature, so I can make that from daylight on the high end at 5700 all the way down to 3200. Now, if you rotate this knob quickly, it changes the temperature of the readings very quickly. If you rotate it slowly, it does it quite slowly. Same thing with the brightness. If I take it, there's 100%, quick knob, spin down to 0, but as I go slowly, it actually goes in 1% increments. Now those percent increments are not terribly accurate, but it does have them there. If you want to switch to RGB mode, I simply push on this, and now it's in RGB mode, and I get an RGB readout on here, a 360-degree hue readout, and that is essentially all there is to the light. But now what we want to see is what the colors really look like. So I'm going to mount this on here. Get that into position, where I have set up a little split screen view so that you can see the back of the control and the front of the light. Now this image is considerably underexposed, specifically so that you can see it. Obviously here you don't really see the colors that well. When we look at that close-up camera, you do see the colors nice and rich, so this is quite an underexposed video feed, but this will allow you to see the two side by side. So back to the split, and if I take I'm going to take the percentage down to about 10%. That'll keep that nice and visible there. And now as I go to adjust the color, the RGB color on here, notice there's a number there that says 1. So that is, in theory, 1 on a 360-degree scale. And as I start to rotate this through, you'll see the color start to change. Now there you just saw something interesting, and this is where this gets a little bit on the hokey side. You saw it go from kind of a red to a reddish yellow to, boom, a hard yellow. And that was one click over. So let's go back a click. I go back a click. Oh, wait, it's not back to the red. Wait, where'd that red go? Where's the red? Where's the red? Where's the red? Hello, red, I know you're here somewhere. Where'd you go? Hello? There, oh, there it is. So the RGB, what What is going on? How, that whole time, what's break? I broke something bad today. Okay, I got serious issues today. What is going on? Why? Yeah, I think we're going to be redoing this show because this is a complete disaster. I don't know why that's happening. So switch over to that. Now it's working. Oh, no. Yes. Okay. I don't know where. I know that you're looking at my computer screen again. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Somehow in doing the script, I built in. Oh. So everything works fine. Let me just double check this. Everything works fine until I go to the split. Once I go to the split, you don't see the split, you see, yep, and that's what breaks it. Okay. All right. I know what happened now. Let me fix it again. Okay. All right, here's what happened. I've got until 11, and I've got a call at 11. So I guess I could try this one more time. My God, this is just the worst show day ever. So here's what happened. Because I was programming the split live, so you guys could see that, I switched. I can control what is being sent from the ATEM to the Pearl for streaming. I changed it to show you just my screen. The thing is that I changed that while I was recording a macro, so it recorded that change into the macro. I didn't realize that. So that's where we've broken here. Every time I have, it's not that I forgot to make the change earlier, it's that I showed you the split, and once I load the split, what it actually is loading is not the split. The first thing it loads before it loads the split is sending a different signal to the Pearl. That's what has happened. Wow. Yep, Jake, you got it exactly right. Macro recorded the feed change to the Pearl. So now, boy, all right. So now what that means is I have to go in and find that line of code and strip it out. Okay, so it is part of the LED split. Let's see here. So auxiliary input, program, supersource. Auxiliary input. Camera 2, maybe that is it actually. Auxiliary input, or is it program input? Must be auxiliary input. I don't even know. See, this is, I don't recognize that command, so that must be the one. Yep, that is it, because here's one where I did a script specifically to send the Pearl, a different image to the Pearl, and that's the auxiliary input. Okay, so back to here. So I just need to strip that line of code out, save this again. What time is it? 10:15. My God. Okay, save that. And now load that into place. And that should do it. Wait, did I load the right one? Yeah. And that should do it. Okay, so now let's load that up. And we'll see, once that's loaded, we'll test it and make sure that it works. Well, while that's happening, let's see what else is going on. Is it interesting that it was stuck? Oh, right. It was stuck to the Amazon page because it was showing you my computer screen, and that was what I was sending over to the Pearl. Anyway, Emacs, this show is the best show ever because it helps us to understand what you have to go through to bring us a show. It's, well, yeah. There's a lot of that. Oh, it's done. Okay. All right, so now let's see. So main show, close-up, overhead studios, all good. That works. Go back to there. Now when I go to split, now you're seeing the split. Excellent. You're seeing the split. Go back to the main, go back to the split, back to the main. Huzzah, it actually works. Take 3. Are you guys ready for another show, or should we just bail on this thing and do this on Monday? Should I do this? Nah, let's just do it. Let's get out of the way. Wow. What else is going on in the chats here? Anything else? No. Okay. Who's actually watching? Wow, we still got a bunch of people watching. This is remarkable. Man, this is absolutely the single most screwed up live show I've ever done. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I've had some pretty bad doozies in the past. All right, let me take this all apart. Part of the reason that I didn't catch it, I wish I could show you without changing things, show you my screen here. I have a way to show that to you easily. Oh, wait, yeah, I can do this. I think. Does this work? If I turn the camera on here, do you see that? Yes, you do. Okay. All right. So we're looking at a, can I zoom in? Perfect. We're looking at my iPhone, my iPad view here. So this is my confidence monitor. It's 2 screens, split screen here. This is what is supposed to be live right here. That's what's supposed to be live. This is the program out. The problem is that that is not necessarily what's being sent to the Pearl. What's being sent to the Pearl is down here in this corner. I have a little to Pearl down here so that I know what's actually being sent to the Pearl. The thing is that I can switch this independently from this, and I almost never do that, but today I did, and so it screwed me up. And so I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing the switch is right, and that's all good, but I wasn't noticing that it wasn't switching down here. So that was the problem, for those of you who really wanted to know. All right, Technopilot, that back to the main, not back to the main split reminded me of the old Spice Guy. Spice Guy, that's funny. Okay, let's try this one more time. And now you also know that I definitely don't script things because you're going to hear the show for the 3rd time and you're going to hear 3 different versions of the show. That's the way it is. All right, I do actually want this on for the intro. I want this doing its little cycle thing for the intro. There we go. Hey, what the heck. Now let's make sure I don't forget to turn the audio back on. I'm actually going to stop and restart recording because I don't need all that other data. Although I might end up using it some behind the scenes thing. Who knows? Alrighty. Shall we try this one more time? Today we're looking at the ANDYCINE RGB LED light. It's this tiny, lightweight, inexpensive little RGB light, but we're going to find out if it's actually any good or not. Welcome everybody to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live twice a week now. Used to be 5 times, then it was 3, now it's twice a week show here at youtube.com/PhotoJoseph. Hey, for those of you who have been bearing through this incredibly long live show today while we went through all the screw-ups, I do appreciate it. For those who are watching the recorded show, well, you're not even going to see this part, so I don't know why I'm saying that. Today we're looking at this cool little light here. It's a very inexpensive RGB LED light. But it's not perfect, and we're going to find out where it's good and where it kind of falls down a little bit. Let's just start with what is in the box, and then we'll take a look at the cost of this thing. So you get a small, what do you call this, 4-inch or so RGB light. It is very, very lightweight. It's all plastic, super lightweight. So being all plastic, it may not be the most durable thing in the world, but being super lightweight, if you mount this on top of your camera, you'll be okay carrying that around all day long. It runs off of either battery or AC. Now it comes with a battery, which is unique. Usually a light like this would not come with a battery, it would come with just the AC adapter. But while it comes with a battery, it does not come with an AC adapter, which is kind of curious. So you have the AC port on the back, or the DC port as the case may be, on the back. You can certainly run it that way, but you have to buy it yourself. If you want to run off battery, it comes with one. Now, speaking of the battery, it comes with this standard Sony NP battery. It's a little baby one. It also comes with a little charger. But here's something kind of cool. I've actually never seen one of these before. This charger has a USB cable on it. This is a USB charger. This is an NP battery USB charger. I don't have one of these, so I think this is a really nice little handy thing to add to my collection. So I'm pretty happy about that. Now I'm sure it's going to take longer to charge than it would off of the wall, but you've got that option. Curiously, it has another USB port, and in the box you get another slightly longer USB cable, but all that is a charging alternative cable. It doesn't double charge it. This is not an output, it is an input. There's even a big thing that says input. But you plug this in and now you've got just a slightly longer charging USB cable. A little bit weird thing to come with, but anyway, that's how it works. Last thing in the box is the cold shoe mount. This is nice because of the way this is designed. There is a little post sticking out of the top of this, which fits into the bottom of here. So you got your screw, your 1/4-20 screw on the post, slide that in, screw it into place, and because the post is there, this doesn't rotate. So this is not going to spin if you mount it on your camera or anywhere. This is not going to spin freely on you, which is kind of nice. Pop the NP battery onto the back, and we're good to go. So now let's take a look at the controls. You have two knobs slash buttons on here. There is the power slash dimmer and the CCT, or the color temperature control, and the hue adjuster. So this thing does both RGB and color temperature, so your warming, cooling kind of light. Now, as we've seen before with these type of lights, the color temperature control is handled with the RGB lights. It is not a separate series of daylight balanced LEDs and tungsten balanced LEDs. It is just RGB mixing, so it's not going to be as accurate as a true RGB, as a true color temperature control light would be. But as you're going to see as we get into this, accuracy is not really this thing's strong point to begin with. So let's just see how it works. Turn it on, push to off. Once it's on, you can control the brightness on this. Now I realize it's kind of hard to see this display here. We're going to get a close-up view and we'll see this in a moment a little bit better. But here you have brightness control. Here you have your color temperature controls. Or if you switch this over to RGB, you push that, now you have your RGB controls. But the best way to see this is actually going to be in a split screen view. So let me put this up here on this mount. And we're going to be looking at a split of two different things. We're going to see a close-up of the front of this LED. Now this is a significantly underexposed view so that you can really see the colors on there. And we're also going to see a back view here where we have the controls. And that split looks like this. So again, we've got our brightness dimming knob there, and we've got our color temperature control. So one thing I'll point out right away, you'll see if I rotate this raw knob quickly, it changes very quickly. If I rotate it slowly, it changes very slowly. So it's kind of like a drive-by-wire lens where if you move it slowly, it moves slowly, move it quickly, it moves really, really quickly. Kind of like that. So if you want to be accurate about your positioning, you do have to be quite careful. You do have to be quite meticulous in how you turn it, because you go just a little bit fast and it's going to spin a little bit out of control. So just keep that in mind. You got to make your adjustments slow and delicate like. So let me take the brightness down so that you can see the colors all nice and pretty out there. We're going to take it all the way down to 10%. There we go. And the hue is being read out on a 360 scale. So 1 to 360 is currently at 95. Well, let me just crank this all the way down here to the beginning so we can do a proper demo and you can see how this works. So there we are starting at 0. You can see we have a nice rich red on there, right? So I'm going to slowly just start taking this up to 1 to 2 to 3. And I'm doing this, watch the color temp, watch the color change in there, the RGB. It's getting a little bit kind of yellowish, a little bit more yellow in there. Not a huge amount, but a little bit more yellow. Oh, and what just happened? It just switched. It did like I went 1 degree and it did a massive switch. Well, that's kind of weird. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, well, it went from like red to yellow when I went from 16 to 17. Let me just go back to 16. Oh, hold on, where's my red? Hello, red? Hello, where's red? Where? Hello, oh, it's getting a little redder. Oh, and then there's red. So red ends at 2, wait, nope, but it's not. Okay, so you see what I'm getting at here. Where you set the dial is not consistent at all. So in the manual, it even says that you can note your color by noting the number on there and going back to that. Not really the case. So if you are using this with the expectation of being able to dial in the exact same color by going to 58 and always being at 58, probably not so much. But if you don't mind that, if you're not looking for that kind of consistent accuracy, you just want to be able to get cool colors out of it to light a set or to add a little color kicker, well then this thing's pretty sweet. So as I run through the whole spectrum here, let's just do that. I'll do it a little bit more quickly here so you can see the numbers there. You can see how it runs. You'll see you get a lot of places where it just doesn't seem to change much at all, and then suddenly it changes. There's blue. And so what I have found in playing with this is the best way to get a good, consistent color is to kind of go quickly and get to roughly what you want. So let's say I want green. Let's go quickly, find green. Okay, there was green. And now that I'm there, I'll dial it slowly. That seems to be the best way to do it. I want blue, so it's just fast, there's purple, there's blue, okay? And then kind of slowly dial in the blue. The other thing about this is when I turn this off, there we go, and turn it back on, it does not come back to where it was. It doesn't remember its previous position. It comes back to full brightness, 100% brightness in the regular white color temperature mode, not into RGB. So Again, for the consistency thing, not only can you not reliably put it back to a color, you also can't reliably just turn it off and back on again and have it go to the exact same place. So, you know, maybe not the greatest thing in the world, but this is what you get when you are paying a whopping $76 for an RGB light. So it's only 76 bucks, which, you know, for a small LED light is a lot of money, but for an RGB light, it is definitely not. That's pretty cheap. We don't usually see RGB lights anywhere near that price point. So for that, that's good. Now it does have one more cool feature in here. If let's turn this on and go back to the RGB mode, if I press and hold this for a couple of seconds, it will automatically go through a rotation. Now, unfortunately, at this rotation, I can't adjust the brightness. So it's too bright. I know you don't even really see the colors on there. Let me just, here, let's do this. We'll go to this view so you can see the colors there a little bit on my hand. But I'm adjusting the brightness, nothing's happening in here. So it's rotating through the RGB spectrum, but it is doing it at full brightness. And it takes, I believe it's supposed to be 30 seconds for that rotation, but I haven't timed it. It actually seems like it might be a little bit longer than that. So anyway, it's a fun little light. If you're looking for an easy way to get a quick color kick into something, you're doing product photography or YouTube thumbnail photography, you want an RGB light to be able to throw on there, and you're not concerned about getting the exact same color, the exact same brightness every time you turn it on, then I think it's a great bargain. If, however, you want that kind of accuracy, yeah, you're going to want to look somewhere else. It's really not going to cut it for you. So, you know, I was thinking, what if, what's inside of this thing, right? It's like, it's probably a bunch of RGB lights, right? Literally red, green, and blue LED lights. And they're just turning the brightness on or off, or up or down for those independently. Should we take it apart and find out? I kind of want to. Is that a bad idea? For those of you watching live, is it a bad idea if I take this apart? I know that if it was a strobe, we wouldn't want to do that because it holds a power charge, and if you discharge that, you're going to like blow everything up. But it's just LED. I can take this apart. I'm not going to electrocute anything, right? No power on it. Battery's off. I'm gonna grab a screwdriver. In the live chat, tell me if this is a really bad idea before I get back. Let me find a small screwdriver. Pretty sure I have one over here. Yeah, this one should work. All right. All right. Has anybody told me in the live chat that this is a terrible, terrible idea? You can do it, Emacs says. Excellent. That's all I needed. One person saying that I could do it. That's good enough for me. All right, let's go for a top-down view here. And yes, this works. Sweet. We're going to take this thing apart and find out what makes it tick. Because nothing says tech like ripping your tech apart. Mikey says, yep, strip it down. Am I going to be able to get it back together? That's the big question. Or is this going to be like my Mac Mini, where I went to take it apart, broke something, and it was never the same again? See, this made the show worth waiting for. Taking tech apart live on camera. That's what we want to do. All right. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They all came out. Oh, well, okay, I was wrong. It is not just red, green, and blue lights. Huh. All right, well, now I'm going to, let's make sure that nothing else is going to fall out. Nope. Now I got to put this thing back on here. And turn that on. Oh, battery's on. Oh, it says 0. There we go. Okay, so let's see here. How can we, let me do this. I'm going to go back to my really dark view. We'll do the split on there. Okay, so this is color temperature mode. Well, so that's interesting. So it is, wow. Okay, so there's 5700. It's just the white lights on. I'm going to crank it quickly down. 3200. It's just the yellow lights on. Yeah, so those are different lights. And as I'm going between, it is brightening and darkening individual ones. Okay, so it's doing it the right way. Well, that's encouraging. So I was wrong with what I said in the beginning about it being an RGB approximation. Okay, so maybe it's a little bit more accurate than I gave it credit for. But now switch it to RGB, and I'm assuming a whole separate set of LEDs come on? Yes, different LEDs come on. Okay, so now these LEDs come on, and I mean, we're seeing the same thing we saw before without the cover, but let me actually go all the way up to 1%, to setting of 0, rather, where it started. Where it started, come on, where were we? Come on. It's funny, now it seems to be rotating much more slowly than it did before. Okay, there we're past it. 3, 26, 27, I want to get to 0. Hello, 0. Hello, 0. Someone's confirming in the chat that it is a red, green, and blue are on one single LED chip. Okay, so there we go. So there's one. So that should be pure red. And as we rotate up, it just, like, see that big hard switch? It just switches too fast. That's so bizarre. You know what? There was something in the manual that actually said what numbers were at what position, or what colors were at what position. 0 is red, 120 is green, 240 is blue. Okay, so I think we can pretty safely see that if I set it to 0, we are getting pure red. So that seems pretty safe to say. Now it says if I go to, what was it, 120? Where'd it go? 120 should be green. So let's take this up to 120. So that should be pure green. And there's 120. Okay, I'll buy that. And then 240 should be pure blue. So I think when you land on the solids numbers, that seems good. Like, that does seem like pure blue to me. I think that's legit. It's just that the transition between them is really, really not very good. So what does that mean? That the controller, it's a bad controller? Is that what that means? Some kind of a bad controller on there? That's probably what it is. Interesting. I'm glad we took that apart, though. That is really interesting to see. It's two separate, actually 3 separate LED types, right? You've got your daylight balanced lights, just the daylight ones, just the tungsten ones, and the RGB ones. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of neat to see. It's just the controller sucks. Oh well. Well, there you go. All right. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is that light. Again, $76 on Amazon. So if you decide to buy one, please use my links below. That's always appreciated. Use a little affiliate love in there. And if you decide not to buy one, well, I totally understand. But again, for that kind of price, you know, not too shabby as long as you don't want it to be super accurate. Hey, we're going to jump into a Q&A right now. So if you are watching live, stick around, drop your questions into the chat. If you're not watching live, then just hold on a minute, and right over my face here is going to pop up the Q&A link in just a second. Well, how was that for about the single most scattered show I have ever done on this channel? What do you guys think? Was that exciting, entertaining, and disastrous all at the same time? We get these little parts out of here. I was not expecting to take this apart, but that turned into a really good idea, and I'm really glad that I did. All right, let's see here. What's going on in the chat? Sarah's just saying it could be the hue that you were changing by rotating that lever. Well, it's supposed to be the hue. That's the point, but it's just not really doing it very well, is it? Let me go back to the top of the chat room. So let's see here. We skipped past all the parts where I made about 1,000 mistakes and had to start the show 3 times over again. If you are watching this Q&A after if you're watching this Q&A not live and you want to see the disaster that this show actually was, then just scrub to the beginning of this video you're looking at right now and you'll see how long it took to get this show started today. If you've got like an hour to kill and you just feel like laughing your ass off at me, then by all means, please do. Okay, let's see here. Where are we? And a beautiful silent movie, you guys called it. Well, that was very nice of me. Nice of you. And I know there were some questions. I actually saw them. So there's the second time I screwed everything up. There's Emacs telling me it's the best show ever. I super appreciate that. You are a saint. And here, look, here's an actual question by Keomatic. What's the setting in the GH5 for the AEAF lock button? Was focusing on object when pressed in manual focus mode. As of now, it's not doing that. I think I changed something. Oh, okay. So you want it to go autofocus on by pushing that button on the back when it's in manual focus mode. I thought that was by default, actually. Let's see here. I thought that was the default setting, but let's just see. This is the S. It's going to be the same as the GH5S here. All right, let's see here. I'm in manual focus mode. Oh, maybe not by default because this one's not doing it. Okay. So let me see here. Let's plug you in so you can follow along. So this is the GH5S, not the GH5, but it'll be the same in there. And as soon as this comes up on screen, there we go. You can see the menu. Perfect. Okay. This is probably in the custom wrench. Let's see here. Exposure, focus, release, shutter, AE, AF lock. There we go. It's right there. So the AF/AE lock button. Go into that, and you can set it to AF on. And now, let's go into see the whole thing. So I am in manual focus. Yep, I'm in manual focus. Now I push the button, and it focuses. Perfect. There you go. There you go, my friend. That's how that works. Super. I love questions that I can actually answer. Next. People saying do it. They're talking about do the show again. Oh, strip it down. Yes. Yes. Just to discharge any capacitors you find. I totally know how to do that. You just touch it with something metal, right? Serge, it could be here. We already hit that. Pretty Dude 024 says, so it looks like the large white ones are the 50/50 RGB LEDs. The phosphor ones are probably a mix of cold, white, and warm mix. Yeah, I think that's right. Interesting. There's a whole... let me adjust the exposure on that so you can actually see. Oops, wrong button. Here we go. And there we go. I think that's where that was set to before. We'll clarify that later. And it was close enough. So, was that actually in focus? Yeah, it is. Okay, so you can see some of these have a little plus. Yeah, these all say RGB. These have little pluses. These don't have pluses. I don't know what the difference is there. That says Y, Y, W, white. I have no idea what all that means. Anyway, it's an RGB 210 panel. Ha, there you go. You can probably look that up somewhere. If you're looking for a nice, not too expensive RGB light, look at the Yongnuo YN362. Okay, let's find out. Is that a better alternative to this? Yongnuo, there it is. YN362, YN362. Yongnuo YN362, $115, so a little bit more than this, not probably what, another 50% more or so. It comes with a remote control, that's cool. Oh, iPhone controllable too, neat. Is that RGB? Is it video light, adjustable color? No, this is not RGB. Oh, 600, what? I must have picked the wrong one. 362, sorry. I picked the wrong light. Yongnuo YN360, that's this one. So it's a rod light. Oh, that's kind of neat. So like what was that thing? The ice light, like an ice light? LED, video light 35 and full RGB, 126, the same price. That's kind of cool. Huh, neat. I like it. Well, Yongnuo, if you want me to check one of those out, send it over here and I will do a show on it. Neat. All right, there we go. Anything else? Bikeomatic, you are mucho welcome. And I guess that's it. I guess that is it for the questions. Understandable considering how long we've been here. And I've got a call in 20 minutes, so I should probably get going anyway. Hey, thanks for sticking around through that disaster of a live show. But once we got it going, it went pretty well, right? God, the whole switching thing, man, what a nightmare. Well, now you know what goes into it. Now you see what goes into the sausage making cheese stuffing process. It's a beast sometimes, but it's fun. It is what it is. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. All right, guys. Thanks a bunch for tuning in today. Super fun. Glad you came on for the show. Glad you stuck around for the whole long show. And if you decide to buy one of those things, you know what to do. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.